The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
Welcome to Easton 300, a monthly TV show that talks about the good things that are happening and that we're planning for the year 2025. Yes, believe it or not, it will be the 300th anniversary of the town of Easton. Can you imagine Brian, who's my co-host on this TV show, 1725 to 2025.
Yeah, and I want to remind you, I wasn't there
Yeah.
when it started.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And I may not be there for the 350th anniversary celebration,
Yeah.
but folks in the community, we want you to get excited because we have a lot of events that are taking place. And I'm Dave Clifton, happy to co-host this show, Easton 300, with Brian Hoffman. Brian's had some experience on camera and even off camera.
Yep.
And our two guests today are going to be talking about the first day celebration, which is the very first event that will take place during the year 2025. And why don't you introduce our guest, Brian?
Great. First of all, let me say that to the people of Easton, this is going to be one heck of a celebration. So start, getting your calendars out now. You may not have a calendar for 2025, but your phone does. And just start plugging in some dates as you hear about them. The 300th anniversary of the town is going to be, I think, momentous in terms of what happens and very memorable in terms of what transpires in the various events. To my left is Amanda Hurley, and to my right, Annemarie Taylor, both of whom are active citizens in the town, are talented people who are going to bring a great deal of knowledge and expertise to the events, to the planning for the events. And it's people like this who are volunteering for the Easton 300 committee and volunteering on behalf of the town who are going to make this a success.
And of course, you can see the logo behind us, which was established by Mrs. Fornellis. And what a terrific job she did. That's a clock that you see in the center of Easton, right on the main street. And let me start off by maybe asking Amanda a question. I know that everything is not in concrete right now in terms of the first event. We still, although time is going by pretty fast, do you have any plans right now that you can announce in terms of the celebration, the date, the time, and the place for first day?
Yeah, so we are very excited to announce that our event will happen on January 1st, 2025 at Oliver Ames High School. And we're thinking from about 12 to 6 p.m. And we're hoping to end the day with an exciting finale to be announced at a later date. But we're very excited about having something big, and we'll send off the year in an exciting way.
That's terrific. And Annemarie, what can you add to that?
Well, Amanda and I have been doing events for a long time, so we're really excited about this. We hope to appeal to all ages, kids, adults, older adults, millennials, boomers, all the things. So we're going to have a lot of events going on. We also, one of the things we're really excited about, if you all remember back in the day, they used to do the chili cook-off at the NRT fair. So we're going to do a soup cook-off, sponsoring lots of restaurants, and the people will vote and they'll get a prize. And we think that will be very fun. That's just one thing that we're doing, but there's lots of events inside and outside of the high school that are going to take place. Again, we'll have things for kids. We'll be involving the whole community in them. as well as for adults. We're also going to have a lot of merch that we'll be announcing fairly soon that we're going to be selling, giving away, and really involving everybody. We'd love if you'd volunteer. We're having a lot of fun doing it, Amanda and I. We've got a little team so far, and we'd love to add to it. There's a lot of things we're working on other than the first day celebration, but the first day celebration is going to be big, and the ending of it is going to be spectacular. So
We're excited about that. And Brian, you're familiar with the history in the town of Easton, but you were involved at some point with the 275th.
No, I wasn't. I was a beneficiary of that. We were here in town, certainly, and participated in some of the events, but I wasn't fortunate enough to be involved in that. But I think that the folks who did that carved some really good pathways for us that will help us as we plan for the 300th. And our intent is to make sure that what went before us, gets improved, gets magnified, and I think 300 is a really magical number. So I think that everything that we have to look forward to in 2025 kind of rests on the shoulders of the folks that did it, for the 275th. But I wasn't fortunate enough to be part of that.
Well, the team is starting to multiply. We have 10 members who were appointed by the Easton Select Board and have been meeting way back in early 2023. It takes a lot of planning. There's a lot of activities. I know that the town right now, through its Tricentennial Committee, have planned 7 signature events that'll take place on 7 different days. This is going to be a year-round celebration scattered throughout the year. The first event, which Amanda and Annemarie are coordinating, will be during the month of January. And of course, the last event will take place on December 27th at Stonehill College, and I'll show you my sweatshirt. But at Stonehill College, thanks to Father John, the president, he's agreed to host it. And of course, it'll be a gala. We're expecting 400 or 500 people that we hope will be in attendance. It'll be a black tie event. And we just hope that folks in town will come and enjoy that. It's still in the planning stages right now. And I have the honor and privilege of being involved in that event. Although as chair, I guess I'm involved in all of them. But both Annemarie and Amanda have agreed to join us. So they got some time off in the middle. They kick off with the first day celebration.
not if you keep putting us on all the committees, Dave.
They keep resting.
True.
And they're so talented that we want them involved in everything. But right now, those 2 major events,
Yes.
I think would be enough.
Yes.
But Brian, I want to ask you, in terms of the town of Easton, when I take a look at all the historic buildings, it's truly amazing. Maybe you could name some of those that we hope that folks will visit.
Yeah,
Because this town, Easton, Massachusetts, has lots of history.
it does. It does, and we're blessed to have remarkable works by both a landscape architect, Olmsted, and a building architect, excuse me, Richardson, that have left. They've left buildings, and they've left landscapes, and they've left a culture that is pretty much known around the world. So architectural students from Europe, from Asia, from around America will come here to study the remaining Richardson buildings. I think there are now only 39 or 40 of those buildings in existence in the world, and we have 7 of them. So here in the little town of Easton, we've got this treasure trove of architectural history. The other thing that we have
Does that include the mansion at Borderland State Park?
I'm not sure if that's a Richardson building or not, but it certainly includes Oaks Ames Memorial Hall, the library. There are a number of the gatehouse. There are a number of buildings that are historically and architecturally significant. We're known as Shovel Town, and lots of people go, it's kind of a awkward name. Why is that the name of the town? Well, the town, the foundation of the town came from the Ames Shovel Works, and the Ames Shovel Works Foundation came from America and America's, progress to the west, building the railroads with Ames shovels, exploring for gold, in the 49ers and that type of thing, not the football team. But in government, serving as governors and senators, the Ames family was, woven through the fabric of the town. And I think one of the remarkable things to me is that there are still members of the Ames family who are actively involved in the town, helping to maintain and helping to extend that culture. So whether you're, walking in solitude along Shovel Shop Pond or Ames Pond, whether you're walking at Borderland State Park, which is, I think, now part of DCR.
Department of Recreation and Conservation.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I shouldn't use acronyms and initials. Or whether you're walking downtown on Main Street that has been revitalized over the last number of years in terms of restaurants available, businesses available, the old Northeastern Grammar School, which kind of looks like a miniature, hall from Philadelphia.
Mhm.
My kids went to grammar school there. Now that's office condos. There's a sense of history in just about every step you would take around this town. And I think that people who live here, people whose kids grew up here, understand that. But the 300th is going to be an opportunity for us to revitalize that, to not just remind people of that, but let them really experience the kinds of things that are available.
And of course, this is Shovel Town, USA. You can see on our logo, it has the shovels.
Mm-hmm.
We purposely made sure that it was at 3 o'clock because we're talking that magic number 300, and that 3 is part of it. I know Amanda and Annemarie have been involved in a number of things over the years, and that's why we did the best we could to recruit them to head up a major event going through the
We
year.
are very honored
Yeah.
that we were asked to
Yeah.
help. We really are.
We are.
Because
And of course, the salary is zero, the same amount of money that
what?
that Brian and I are making, but
Darn, I'm going to have to just tear up that
Nobody
contract.
told
Yeah.
us that.
Yeah.
the
You're
fact
left in the
is
dark on
that
that.
I'm happy to have Brian Hoffman as a co-host.
Yes.
He's got some
Thank you.
experience with radio and TV.
Mm-hmm.
I remember his name from BZ.
Mm-hmm. Long time
Uh,
ago.
And
Really?
my
didn't know
experience has been with WPRO radio.
Mm-hmm.
But this is kind of a fun experience to be able
It
to
is.
sit down once a month
Mm-hmm.
to talk about the celebration.
Yeah.
Yes.
And one of the things that we hope we can make happen, we need lots of volunteers to support some of these events that are taking place. We also need to do a lot of fundraising. To run a celebration that we're planning is about $350,000. That's a lot of money. It takes a lot of support. We have some folks that are already stepping up to the plate to do what they can to support financially this celebration. How often does a community get a chance to celebrate 300 years?
Mm.
And I know that there's lots of folks out there that may give their time, their talent, their ideas, their resources to make a difference here in the town of Easton. We want you to save the date. It's 12 months during the year 2025. And I want to check off the calendar, but I'm still looking at a 2024 calendar. But you might have seen a few of us around town with hats on, and we want to thank you, Brian, for those hats. I wear it
You're welcome.
everywhere I go,
Yep.
except on TV. The fact is that we're happy, but we got a lot of things happening. And Brian, I wanted to thank the Southeast Regional Vocational Technical High School
Yep.
here in Easton. They're right on 106. They did this poster. Maybe we could close in on this poster and I'll hide my face, which could draw a few more viewers.
There we go.
The fact is that it lists all the events, it lists our logo, the 300th anniversary, and we're talking about a theme that says bringing families and community together. How important that can be. And we're hoping that this will be a celebration that will appeal to people of all ages. We're not just talking about senior adults, are we, Brian? We're talking about students at the schools. We're talking about people that may have disabilities, making it possible for them to come and go when we pick the facilities to run
Yes.
the celebration. You've run a lot of events over the years. Is there one that stands out that you can kind of compare with this big time celebration?
I don't really.
Well, you think about it.
Think
We're going to take our
so.
first break.
Yep. And as we do, David,
Yes.
if you would share that poster with me for a minute, because I think as people sit out there, you're going to be thinking, well, how can I get involved? You know, what can I do? What's my little part that I might be able to do from home or from my office, or, you know, meeting with the community to share ideas. There is an email address. It's Easton300. So it's Easton300.2025@gmail.com.
Why don't you repeat that again?
Yeah. So Easton300.2025@gmail.com. Just email with questions, ideas. If you are interested in sharing some of your time and talents, just get a little note into that, and someone from the committee will be able to get back to you and kind of channel that energy that you have into something that'll make it an even more remarkable celebration.
Well said, Brian, and I'd just like to add something to it. We do have a P.O. Box, and guess what the number is, folks? 300. P.O. Box 300 if you want to send a check or maybe a little thank you note to the committee for organizing this year-round celebration. I'm only kidding about that. But again, anyone that makes a donation, certainly make the check out to the town of Easton. All the funds go to the town treasurer. And of course, the bills will be paid through the town hall. So we're going to take a short break.
Yep.
You're watching Easton 300 as we brag and we talk about the upcoming plans for 2025.
And when we come back from break, let's talk a little bit about where that logo came from and that sense of community that came from the very startup of this whole process. We'll be
Yes.
right back.
Hurry back, folks.
Hi there, I'm Gail Devins, and join me as we discover all the businesses that made Easton great. This is a wonderful, wonderful place. I cannot wait. I want to do it. I want to go there. I am definitely coming back, and I know you will too, because I'm telling you something. It is absolutely amazing in here. What a wonderful way to discover Easton. It's right here in Easton. Showing at noon on Mondays, 2 p.m. on Tuesdays, and 11 a.m. on Fridays, only on ECAT.
Welcome to Service Matters, a weekly radio show that talks about the good things that are happening in local communities and beyond.
Since 1978, the Easton Food Pantry has been dedicated to providing food to our neighbors in times of need. As long as there's hungry people in our community, our doors are open, our hearts will be open to help.
We also like to talk about the good things that people do to make a difference, and in many cases, to make dreams real for folks out there in need.
just to chat about, as you say, some of the good things in life. There's some of the good things, the great things, and the happy things.
And certainly watch us on ECAT, Easton Community Access Television. Welcome back to another segment of a very special show called Easton 300. And again, we're so happy that in the year 2025, the town of Easton will be celebrating its 300th anniversary. 1725 to 2025, that's a lot of history, folks. And we're excited about it. That's what our show is about today, co-hosted by Brian Hoffman and myself, and our two guests, two people who are going to be very much involved in a couple events that will take place during that particular year. But you may be saying to yourself, well, this is 2024, but I got to tell you, folks, time passes by very quickly. Before you know it'll be here. We need to line up lots of volunteers. We need to recruit folks who are going to donate to help pay the bills for running this townwide celebration, which I think is going to be big time. And I know that you had some things you wanted to mention, Brian.
Well, it was interesting, in the last segment, we were talking about the fact that this is a town-wide event, and it's also a town-wide effort and initiative. And I thought it might be helpful for our viewers to understand where this logo came from, how it was evolved, and the fact that it crossed literally every section of the town. Mm-hmm. So I thought you might want to talk a little bit about the logo contest, who was involved, and how it was curated, how you got to the point of saying, this is it.
Well, certainly we want to thank Piper Janellis for putting this logo together. She was part of a contest of about 150 folks who submitted entries. And this is the winning one that you see in the poster behind us. What a terrific job that she did. And of course, she even put 3 o'clock on the clock, and you can see the shovels, the minute and the hour fingers that really tell us what time it is that we should be thinking about. But there were some terrific entries.
Yeah, I understand there
We
were.
could have taken 10 or 12 of them, but
everything from grade school up to working adults. And
Yes.
I think Piper herself is a successful artist.
And you're going to see this around town in a lot of the print material and posters.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have the opportunity to understand that that logo stands for our 300th anniversary celebration. And also, Brian, we're going to have it on our pole banners.
That's right.
We're expecting to have maybe 60, 70, 80 pole banners. They're going to be scattered throughout the community. We thank the director of DPW, Dave Fields. His crew is going to put the banners up and take them down. Mm-hmm. They're going to go up sometime in October of 2024, and they'll be taken down after the year ends in 2025. And of course, the banner is going to have the logo on it. It's going to say something like Town of Easton celebrates 300th anniversary. It'll have the logo. And on the bottom half of the logo will have the sponsor. And guess what the cost is to buy a banner? $300. And of course, that pays for all the hardware. It pays for the banner. It pays for the advertising.
It's a good round number.
And that's pretty good for 13 months or 14 months.
Yes, it is.
And I know of some families that also want to put a banner up.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to bring their families down for a photo shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And of course, after the celebration's over, we're going to give the banners to all the folks that donated them.
Mm-hmm.
And some of our high rollers, I call them high rollers, our big time sponsors, that's part of the Give Me Back that we're going to give to them, a banner for their participation. Mm-hmm. But we thank all the students at the schools. We thank the senior adults. We thank all the artists in town that submitted an entry. I think they have to like what they see. And we're looking forward to working that out and getting the banners printed. They're going to be two-sided banners. They're going to be vinyl, and they're going to have slits in them as windbreakers.
Yep.
Because some of the weather outside, and I guess we got a lot of testing during January and February about how cool the weather can be with the winds and everything.
Yes, we know.
And of course, the hardware should hold them up there sturdy and the poles. So we're looking forward to that. And we thank all the folks involved for putting this part of the program together. It's promoting the celebration.
It is. And I think it memorializes the efforts of the people who did, you know, enter the contest as well as the winning entry. But it's also something that, and it's funny, Annemarie and Amanda can chat about this a little bit. Annemarie mentioned merchandise that will be available as the year progresses. One of the things that's important about an historic event like this is that there be things that families and businesses can pass from generation to generation that literally say, we were there. You know, we were part of the 300 for Easton, and here's the banner that we sponsored that was, you know, on Main Street or on Center Street or on Maple Street or wherever. And here's our entry into the contest. It's the stuff that I don't want to call them memory books. It kind of makes them sound old fashioned, but it's the stuff that memories are made of in terms of what people will know in 2026 about what happened in 2025 and how their family, how their school, how their congregation, how their business were involved in making it a really special year.
As a matter of fact, Brian, I'm putting together a book as chair of the celebration committee.
Right.
It's going to have all the events. And what I'm going to end up doing is there are going to be communities around us that are celebrating their anniversary. And it happens when you're involved, you get a telephone call wanting to know what we did because they have to go through the same thing. And why reinvent the wheel? I talked to Walpole, I talked to Sharon, and it's a part of discussions that we have as a committee. So I'm going to share that book. And the book is about this big right now. It's going to be about this big by the time we get finished. And there'll be lots of photographs. And we thank Chris Ventresco for doing the all the photographs that we're going to have in our anniversary book that people can buy at the end of the celebration. There's also going to be a cookbook that's going to be available. And we certainly thank the folks that are involved in that. I know that there's just a lot of things that go with the celebration. We need the town to cooperate, all the department heads. And I got to say, Brian, that all the department heads have bent over backwards to do what they could to help us. The police chief, the fire chief, the DPW, the Board of Selectmen, the town administrator. And then we surround ourselves with facilities. It could be the school facilities. It could be Southeast Regional. It could be Borderland State Park.
Sure. Could be Oaks Ames Memorial Hall. It could be the library. There's so many places around town that that kind of speak to the nature of the town and what we're all about. As many of them as we can get involved.
It could be Langwater. It could be the museum. I should say the mansion at Borderland State Park.
Sure.
We want to take advantage of all the facilities that are available.
And the Children's Museum too, you know, hopefully they'll get involved with programs for the little kids that they'll take with them, and years later when they're in high school or college, they can say, I was a part of that.
And we thank the library for the opportunity they gave us to go before them and give a presentation. Even Southeast Regional School, they're willing to put a cake together. We also had White's Bakery Although they're located in Brockton, they want to do a cake
Oh,
for the
that's nice.
celebration. And lots of people are now calling about putting a banner up. They don't want to just advertise their business, but they want to support the celebration.
Sure.
And we're happy to ask them to stay involved. And I know that Amanda and Annemarie are our guests today, and we wanted to ask them about their strong opinion about merchandising and how important is that? Who can go first?
Well, I know you, Dave, you talked about the cookbook. So I did want to say that there is an online form to submit a recipe. And maybe, Brian, you can tell the people how to get to that form, how to submit a recipe, because I'm telling, when my kids went to Parkview School, 10 years ago, I'm just kidding, they did a little cookbook. I still to this day use that little Parkview School cookbook. And back then, Parkview School was like, I think it was kindergarten to 5th grade. So this cookbook is going to be fabulous. We're also going to have some merch to go with the cookbook. So can you explain to us, to the people, Amanda, where they go to get that form, to fill it in?
Yeah, so you can go to easton300.org. The team is working feverishly to get a form up there. I know you can download a form, fill it out, mail it in. Again, P.O. Box 300, so you can definitely send it in that way. But stay tuned on the website, again, www.easton300.org, and you'll be able to find a fill-in form right on there to make it easy to go to one place, submit your recipe, and then it'll hopefully make it into the cookbook. The hope is all recipes will make it in, so can't wait to see what all the people in town have to
I know.
share.
I think the cookbook is very exciting, and that is being led by Diane Lusardi and Roz. I don't know Roz's last name.
Miller.
She's adorable.
Yeah.
Oh, Roz.
Yeah.
What's her last name?
Miller.
Miller.
Yeah.
So they are really working hard on this cookbook, and it's just going to be fabulous. So that's one thing. Regarding merch, Amanda and I consider ourselves professional shoppers. So we are working with Brian, and we are going to have a whole lot of merch, all ages, from something for the kids, something for the adults. Looking at having 25 items. We're going to sell them throughout the year. We're looking at an online store. We'll have merch at every single event that's being done, and I think Dave and Brian can go over the list of events pretty soon. We are happy to take any suggestions from anybody. Email us if you have any ideas. We want to really appeal to everybody. So the merch is going to be great. We're kind of looking for maybe a home base that we can open. We're just in discussions about this. If anybody has a little space, they can volunteer, or a store, we can set a little thing where we can maybe open once a week and have the merch for a sale. I think a lot of it's going to be really interesting and really fun. So anything to add to that, Amanda?
No, I don't think so.
That'd be good though if you can get a couple of merchants to say host a pop-up store once a month, something like that. And I just had a thought as you were talking. I'm glad you talked about your children's experience with the cookbook. If you've got kids that grew up in Easton and are no longer here, they might be in New York or Pennsylvania or California or wherever, but they grew up in town and they're now adults cooking for their families, get a hold of them and say, hey, you might want to climb onto this website and submit, a recipe for that cookbook that says, I grew up in Easton and this is one of my favorite recipes.
This is what
There's going to be room for everybody. And that makes it a generational experience that I think says something about the nature of families and the nature of communities. So if your kiddos are out there and they're grown-ups now, or maybe they're still in college and doing something a little more exciting than ramen noodles, tell them to jump in and get one of their favorite recipes, whether it's cookies, brownies, a pasta dish, or something really exotic like French toast, or
It's interesting. I submitted a recipe to Diane, And she said,
Was that her first rejection, Dave?
she said, let's not get people sick.
Yeah.
Only kidding.
I'm knowing Diane and her sense of humor, I can see her saying
Yeah.
that.
Yes,
So.
I really
But
can.
I'll tell you, there's just lots of things happening and lots of things to do. And what a way to give back to the community than to participate in the town's 300th anniversary
Yeah,
celebration.
Exactly.
I'd like to shout out and give a thank you to ECAT, Easton Community Access Television, for not only covering our meetings, but they've agreed to cover all the events that'll take place in 2025. And they've agreed to host this TV show that Brian and I are co-hosting. And I know that there's a lot of things that you have to do, Brian, but you find time to join me on this.
Yep.
And at some point in time, we'll be chatting with all the coordinators of the events and folks out there that want their company or their business to participate in this celebration. After the next break, we're going to talk about all the other events that are taking place.
Right.
To give you a little timetable, we may not be specific on dates, but at least we want you to know that some of the events are going to be scattered throughout the year, and there's going to be lots of things to do. But there's also going to be a number of events that'll take place that aren't signature events, but they're events that have been ongoing from year to year here in the town of Easton. Whether it be the Lions Club festival that they do during the holidays. We want to make sure that that's covered. It could be Langwater doing their Family Fun Day. It could be Boylan State Park doing a car show, antique car show, and a production that'll take place at the mansion. So there's a lot of things happening. We'll get into the singular events, but first let's take this time out, listen to these important public service announcements.
In 2023, Easton is a tight-knit community of 25,000 people. But with the hustle and bustle of modern life, it's easy to forget our past. A time when Easton's population was 6,000.
Everybody knew who everybody
everybody
was.
And there was respect.
There was respect for everyone.
When kids enjoyed great freedom and independence.
Everybody was poor at today's standards, but we all were in the same boat and we enjoyed life.
So join me, Priscilla Almquist-Olsen, as I explore what makes Easton so very special with some of its lifetime residents.
I think Easton has so much to offer, and if you're living in a community, you have to know it.
Watch Growing Up in Easton Tuesdays at 7 p.m. and Friday at 9 p.m. See you then.
Hello, welcome to Easton News. I'm Abby Kitchenham.
And I'm Jack Ryan, and together we bring you everything you need to know about Easton, including politics.
The annual town election is scheduled for Saturday, April 22nd, 2023.
Community events.
Be Inspired, Counseling Presents, a parent and child coping workshop centered around a new year and new beginnings.
And sports.
Pressure builds diamonds, so we live by that every day of practice, going into every game.
With APCSM guest segment Pet of the Week.
Hi, I'm Katie with the Animal Protection Center, and today we have a little Iris.
With help from special correspondent Wyatt Fain. Join us
for Easton News.
Playing 6 o'clock, Friday, Saturday, and Sundays.
Welcome back to the final segment of our 300th anniversary celebration discussion. I'm Dave Clifton here along with Brian Hoffman, and we're talking about a celebration. We have two guests who are involved in two different activities, and right now we're going to talk about the other signature events. I call them major events, but there are other major events that run on an annual basis here in the town of Easton. They'll all be part of the schedule. Who's keeping track of the schedule? Diane and Roz are going to coordinate and keep track of all the events. One of the things we said before we went on break is that there's room for everybody out there in the community. You have time, you have talent, you have ideas, you have resources. Maybe you have funds that you'd like to contribute to the cause. There's room for everybody out there. Guess what, folks? It takes about 35 people just to run a parade. You can imagine the bonfire, the fireworks. We need help and support for the gala, the first day celebration. How about the art festival? Are you going to go to the picnic? Are you going to go to one of the concerts? There's lots of things happening. And let me just go over the timetable. First of all, the first day in the month of January will be a celebration that kicks off 300th anniversary. In April of 2025, we have an art festival that's being planned. Right now, we're talking about the possibility of Oak Ames Memorial Hall is the site to do an art festival. Langwater Farms is going to do something on the 19th of April. It's called a Family Fun Day. Come on down, bring the family. Hay wagon rides. There's going to be ice cream. There's going to be pizza. There's going to be lots of things for family members to come and enjoy. The next event is going to take place on June 14th. It happens to be Flag Day. Not only are Brian and I going to be there, but we're going to celebrate the red, white, and blue, the American flag, and how important it is. The flag is an important part of our town celebration. But we also intend to only have a fireworks display at 9 p.m. at the Governor Ames Estate. But we also intend to have a picnic that'll take place from 4 till the fireworks go off. There will be a band concert at the same site from 7 to 9 p.m. Come on down, enjoy the music, enjoy being with your neighbors. There may be some food trucks down there, but it'll be a great day to celebrate with your family. And as you see the fireworks go up in the sky, Anne-Marie and Amanda, we want you to think about the history of the town of Easton and how lucky we all are, Brian, to live in Easton, Massachusetts.
Yes.
And they certainly have lots of history. All you have to do is look at the buildings in town to see the history. The next event is on July 4th. It's going to be a giant parade. We hope it'll be the largest parade that ever took place in the town of Easton. Corey Hoffman is going to be the coordinator. He's had lots of experience doing parades in town. The parade's going to go the full length of Center Street. If you can imagine marching down Center Street, taking a right on Main Street, you'll pass all the pole banners that are hung.
Yes.
There's going to be a review stand in front of the DPW. We're not sure if DPW will be there at that time because there's a new building coming up. But in 2025, July 4th, there may be some other celebrations going on in other towns. And maybe there's a possibility that bands can do our parade in the morning and do another parade in the area in the afternoon. There's going to be a block party at the end of the parade. The block party is going to be in front of Memorial Hall. We're going to block off that area. It's called a block party, so that may be okay.
Makes a lot of sense.
So vehicles can go right or left. The fact is that there'll be floats, there'll be horses, there'll be Boy Scouts, there'll be Girl Scouts, there'll be bands, there'll be drum and bugle corps, there'll be banners. We want everybody in town to either be in the parade or to watch the parade, or maybe you'd like to help in the parade. And then we all come together for the gala. I wanted to thank the Anderson family for coordinating the block party. And of course, we're looking forward to that giant parade that'll end up in downtown Easton. I'd also like to mention that the next event will be a bonfire. We're still working on the site, but we know we're going to have it in October. We're thinking of Columbus Day as a possibility. I'm happy to have the fire chief and myself coordinating the bonfire as well as the fireworks. And I couldn't think of a better guy than the fire chief. We want to keep it safe. And we also thank the police chief for being involved in terms of security for some of these major events. You know, there's a lot of concern today. The world's gotten a little crazy, but the town of Easton in 2025 is celebrating their 300th anniversary.
Yay.
We got about 300 ideas of things we'd like to do, but we need lots of volunteers. Please find a way to contact us to get involved. It takes a lot of people to make this happen. Say to yourself, folks, and to your families, this celebration only happens once, 300 years. I want to be there.
Yeah.
I want to participate in it. What can you add to that before I get to the gala?
Yeah, I was just thinking to myself, wouldn't it be great if we get 300 volunteers?
Oh.
There's a lot of people out there, and you don't have to show up at meetings. You could do something out of your home. You could show up once, as Annemarie said, and just help out with a specific event. And if you're saying to yourself, gosh, I don't know anything about these events and what I can do, come and work with people who've done them before, learn something about that, and the next time there's something going on, you feel enabled. You feel like, okay, I've done that before. I can do it again. The magic of volunteering doesn't cost you anything except your energy and your enthusiasm and your ability to just jump in and get something done. And I was just thinking to myself, we've got that number 300 out. Wouldn't it be nice if all through those signature events we had a total of 300 volunteers? That would be terrific.
We will not say if there's 302. We will not stop you.
That's
You'll
right.
still be able to
You
get
can certainly
involved.
go over that mountain if you want to, but it'd be lovely to have 300.
That'd be terrific.
And it can be kids as well as adults.
Yes.
It can be,
The gimmick is 300, isn't it? I mean, it's 300 to buy a banner.
Yeah.
It's a post office box. It's the name of our show, Easton 300.
Yeah.
So that word 300 rhymes with our celebration, and we thank the committee for coming up with all these different ideas to make it possible. The final event, of course, is the gala. We thank Father John, the president of Stonehill College, for letting us use the facilities at Stonehill College. After all, they are part of the community.
They are indeed.
How lucky we are to have a college right here in the center of Easton, Massachusetts. But the gala, we hope, will be something very special. It's going to be the final event of the year. It's going to begin at approximately 6:30. It's going to be a sit-down dinner. We don't know the price yet. Amanda and Annemarie and myself will be sitting down. We'll be meeting with Stonehill College to talk about the menu.
Yes.
And the food that'll be served. We hope to have a wine toast. We hope to have a gift for everybody in attendance.
Yes.
We hope to have maybe a couple of bars. We also hope to have a special MC. We have Father John.
TBA.
Father John is
TBA
going
on
to give an official welcome at the gala. And we hope to have someone who is going to give us some words of wisdom. The select board's going to cut the cake, and the cake is going to be donated by Southeast Regional Vocational High School right there on 106. So we're excited. It's a community effort.
It will be.
And we couldn't do a show like this without having a couple of coordinators join us.
Of course.
You folks are getting a turn at it, and we're going to be bringing other people, and including the select board.
I think a good idea would be we put a little glass jar there with a gumball for every volunteer, and every show we're going to watch that jar fill up.
I love it.
That jar is going to fill up because you people, we're going to make memories. We're going to have a wonderful year, and you're going to give whatever time you can, even if you can just, if you're a graphic designer, if you can help us with flyers and take that off of us and email it in. If you can just want to come to the parade and direct traffic, stand on the sidewalk,
Sure.
whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So some final comments.
Go ahead.
I wanted to have you and Brian make some final comments.
Go ahead, Amanda, please.
Sure. I think it's going to be a really great year, packed with a lot of fun, a lot of really great community activities. Get your neighbors involved, get your parents and your kids involved. I grew up in town. I'm looking forward to submitting a recipe and then buying that recipe book and using it with my kids. And, I think it's going to be really great. There's going to be a lot of memories made. And I think that there's a lot of opportunities for everybody in town. And I'm excited to be part of it and working with all of you.
I'm looking forward to eating your recipe when that's completed. Brian, some final comments as we get close to wrapping it up.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I think the word has been back and forth in our conversations here and with the viewers at home, but the word is community. And if there's anything that says community, it's the kind of involvement that comes from everyday citizens. Yes, they might be, a graphic artist, or they might be a computer expert, but they also might be a mom or a dad or a grandparent or an uncle or a teenager who says, I've got some energy. I don't know what I can do, but I'll volunteer. I can put a half hour in here or an hour in there.
The high school
and that's
kids,
what community is.
The high school kids a lot need volunteer hours,
Oh,
so we're
I know
happy
it.
happy to sign off on those.
Right.
That's a great idea, Amanda, because that's that next generation. We have like Generation X and Generation Y and Generation Z. Well, in 2025, we're going to have Generation E for Easton. And people who volunteer in that are going to be part of Generation E, and they can be 5 years old, or they can be 55 years old, or even older, like some of us. But it's going to be meaningful. It's going to be enjoyable, and it's going to be something you're glad you were part of it. So I think that anybody watching this and anybody listening to this, get in touch. Let us know what you can do. Let us know what you would like to do, and let us help you help us.
And before you go to bed this evening, I hope that you'll say to yourself and your family, let's get involved. We're encouraging families and maybe streets in the community to consider the possibility of having your own block party during the year 2025. Bring your family and your neighbors together to celebrate the importance. And we're starting it off with a block party that'll take place after the parade. But there's a lot of activities to get involved in. Again, I say to you, share your time, your talent, your ideas, your resources, and we appreciate any funds that you can throw towards the celebration. A big thank you to all the town officials, to the state officials who we hope that eventually will support us financially. And I'd like to thank our two guests, Brian, on behalf of you and I, Amanda Hurley, and of course, Annemarie Taylor.
We're honored. Thank
Happy
you.
to be here.
And before I forget, I think we mentioned a lot of other folks. Let's also say a big thank you to the folks at Queeset House and the Ames Free Library who host the committee meetings, who are so gracious. And when it's time to shut off the lights, if we're not quite finished, they wait a couple of minutes and remind us that it's time to turn off the lights. But they're a wonderful team over at the library and Queeset House. So we're fortunate to have that. It's a Richardson building. It's an incredible, community partner for everybody. So thanks to them as well.
And also we had a wonderful time when the VFW hosted us.
Yes, right.
The food, they gave us food and desserts, and the staff was fabulous, and it was just so sweet of
And the
them.
Knights of Columbus, we thank them for hosting a brainstorming session. And we're going to be moving around to other buildings just to get everybody involved. And that's going to wrap it up for this show today called Easton 300. I'm Dave Clifton on behalf of Brian Hoffman, saying thank you. We ask all of you to go forth to serve on the 300th anniversary celebration. Do it with a smile on your face, and certainly do it as a volunteer with the dignity that it deserves. Folks, Thank you for joining us.
Bye now.